The Aztec Empire existed from the 14th to the 16th century in what is now Mexico. Its heritage, the Aztec civilization, is considered one of the three major civilizations of Central and South America, alongside the Inca and Maya civilizations. There is an interesting legend about the settlement of the Aztec people. Inspired by their protective deity, the war god Huitzilopochtli, they sought an eagle perched on a cactus, clutching a snake in its beak. According to the prophecy, they were to build a city where they found this eagle. The Aztecs found the eagle on a small island in Lake Texcoco in the Valley of Mexico, and there they established what would become the famous ancient city of Tenochtitlan, meaning the place of the cactus. The modern emblem of Mexico is derived from this legend. Although it is just a legend, it illustrates that the Aztecs were not the original inhabitants of the Valley of Mexico. Before the Aztecs, many other tribes of Native Americans had settled in this unique location. According to some historians, the Aztecs entered the Valley of Mexico around the early to mid-13th century, initially settling in the Chapultepec area. Due to resource competition and their warlike nature, they frequently clashed with neighboring tribes, leading to ongoing raids that provoked the ire of their neighbors. Consequently, these tribes united to launch a punitive expedition against them. The result of this war was a defeat for the Aztecs, with many being captured while a small group fled to a nearby island. The captured Aztecs were taken to Culhuacan, a dynasty led by descendants of the Toltecs, where they lived under the watchful eye of the chieftain Coxcox. Their reputation grew following their distinguished service in a battle at Culhuacan. Around 1325, these Aztecs moved to a small island in Lake Texcoco, joining others who had previously fled there. This island later developed into the city of Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs established Tenochtitlan as their capital and gradually built a vast empire. At its peak, the Aztec Empire governed 371 tribes, with its territory spanning the heart of the Americas. The Aztecs were industrious and skilled, achieving significant accomplishments in politics, economy, education, culture, arts, and medicine, shining brightly as a beacon of civilization. Politically, the Aztec Empire was a monarchy with the emperor as the supreme ruler, typically chosen through family succession, religious ceremonies, or elections. The administrative structure of the empire was divided into central and local institutions, further subdivided into various provinces and municipalities managed by appointed officials. There were legal institutions enforcing the rule of law, with a legal system and court system as its main components. Taxation authorities were responsible for collecting taxes and managing fiscal matters, and there was a police force in charge of maintaining public order. The empire also implemented a tribute system, requiring subordinate states to contribute annually to the Aztec Empire, with each province or region making contributions to the capital. Moreover, the Aztecs placed a high value on the moral character and leadership abilities of their rulers, believing that only those with good virtues and leadership skills could govern effectively and ensure the prosperity of the state. Economically, the Aztecs primarily relied on agriculture, while also developing trade to a significant extent. Corn was the staple food of the Aztecs, who placed great emphasis on its cultivation. They created artificial islands known as chinampas for growing crops such as corn, beans, chili peppers, and cotton. They built large dikes and utilized terraced farming techniques, and they innovated agricultural practices such as crop rotation and selective breeding. The Aztecs' craftsmanship was also advanced. They excelled in textile weaving, pottery firing, copper forging, and crafting various artifacts. Additionally, the Aztecs developed commercial trade significantly, engaging in marketplaces where they traded poultry, corn, soybeans, tomatoes, chili peppers, citrus, nuts, textiles, and gold and silver jewelry. In these transactions, commodities like gold, cocoa beans, jade, bird feathers, and cotton were commonly used as currency. The growth of the economy, especially the expansion of commercial trade, significantly fostered the development of Aztec education, culture, and arts. In terms of education, the Aztecs placed a high value on learning. Aztec society believed in the right of every child to be educated. Children received family education up to the age of 5, then entered a type of elementary school from ages 5 to 10. From 10 to 15, they attended preparatory schools focusing on arts, vocational training, and military preparation. The formal Aztec educational system offered several types of schooling. For example, the Telpochcali school catered to children from noble and common classes alike, teaching songs and dances for religious ceremonies, as well as detailed information about the nation's history and religious beliefs. Another type of school, the Calmacac, served boys from noble families, where they learned hieroglyphic writing, calendrical calculations, dream interpretation, and omens analysis. In their educational content, the Aztecs emphasized a comprehensive and practical approach to knowledge. Their curriculum included subjects such as poetry, history, mathematics, music, agriculture, architecture, and military training. They placed a strong emphasis on moral education and the development of self-discipline, resilience, social responsibility, and collectivism. Additionally, physical fitness and military preparedness were prioritized, alongside a focus on the students' career development. In terms of educational methods, the Aztecs employed a diverse range of approaches, both in school settings and at home, emphasizing observation, experimentation, and hands-on learning. They focused on learning through practical application, fostering growth by applying knowledge in real-world contexts. Aztec teachers used poetry, stories, and songs to guide student learning. They also provided teaching resources such as charts, manuscripts, and drawings. Various tools like leather and feathers were used to enhance teaching. Common educational practices also included imitation, games, disciplinary measures, and elders' talks, which involved imparting wisdom and moral lessons through dialogue. Elders' talks in Aztec education primarily imparted foundational knowledge of social and cultural norms, featuring poetic elements and aimed at moral instruction, often conducted with a degree of ceremonial formality. Aztec schools emphasized respect for teachers and peers, adherence to discipline, and valued the connection between schools and the community, viewing the community as a critical educational setting. These aspects are considered highly valuable for contemporary educational practices. Moreover, the focus on students' psychological development and the advocacy for diverse teaching methods provide significant insights for modern education. In terms of culture and arts, the Aztecs were passionate about oratory and spoke Nahuatl. They made paper and used pictographic writing to document history, stories, poetry, proverbs, legends, and myths, creating many literary works. Poetry was considered the highest form of Aztec art, making poets some of the most celebrated individuals in Aztec society. The Aztecs maintained libraries within temples or palaces to preserve significant documents and scholarly works, serving as important centers for learning and research. The Aztecs had a rich festival culture, with around 200 to 300 festivals throughout the year, fulfilling desires for social integration and reflecting the role of such activities in individual social development. The Aztecs practiced polytheism, primarily worshiping the sun god, and believed in the immortality of the soul, which shaped their attitudes towards death. A warrior culture was a significant component of their society, valuing bravery and martial skills. Additionally, the Aztecs used a vigesimal counting system. The Aztecs had a profound understanding of astronomy, having calculated that a year has 365 days and being able to predict solar and lunar eclipses. They meticulously tracked the orbital periods and trajectories of planets such as Venus and Mercury and devised both a solar and a lunar calendar to manage their timekeeping. Aztec artistry was diverse, including architectural feats such as pyramids and urban structures, sculpture, murals, jade work, and pottery. Additionally, music and dance were integral to Aztec life, playing a significant role in both daily living and religious ceremonies. These cultural elements highlight the sophistication of the Aztec civilization and its deep integration of scientific knowledge with artistic expression. In the realm of medicine, the Aztec tribes each had their hospitals and specialized centers for rehabilitation of the disabled. Aztec physicians were well versed in herbal medicine and various surgical procedures, including the use of anesthetics in surgery. Additionally, the Aztecs had an understanding of psychological disorders and their treatments, employing herbal remedies and therapeutic rituals akin to suggestion therapy to address conditions such as anxiety and depression. These practices highlight their advanced knowledge and holistic approach to healthcare. In military matters, the Aztecs implemented a conscription system requiring all adult males to serve in the military. They established a vast army primarily composed of young men, including infantry and archers among other military units. Strategically, the Aztecs combined military force, diplomatic tactics, and psychological warfare. Diplomacy was largely manifested through alliances with other city-states, while psychological warfare involved intimidating and instilling fear in enemies to weaken their resolve before battles. Among the most widely recognized aspects of Aztec culture are their religious practices and the notoriously brutal tradition of human sacrifice. The Aztecs revered many gods, with the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, being one of the most prominent. Quetzalcoatl, a principal deity of the Toltecs, traces his origins back to the Teotihuacan period. Additionally, Huitzilopochtli, the war god, served as the protector deity of Tenochtitlan, while Tlaloc, the ancient rain god, also hails from the Teotihuacan era. Beyond these, the Aztecs worshipped many other gods, all of whom required offerings and sacrifices from the people. Human sacrifice was a central element in Aztec religious rituals, but it was not unique to them, as earlier indigenous peoples in the Americas also practiced human sacrifices. The Aztec tradition of human sacrifice can be traced back to the Teotihuacan period, when Venus worship was popular across the Valley of Mexico and Central America. This worship of Venus was not only linked to military conquest, but also symbolized by the ritual killing of war captives, representing the transformation of blood into water and thereby ensuring fertility and harvests. The feathered serpent god of Teotihuacan, associated with Venus, was a symbol in these rites. The Aztecs inherited these traditions of human sacrifice from Teotihuacan and the Toltecs, continuing the worship of Venus through their own elaborate sacrificial ceremonies. These rituals typically took place on specific festival days or at set times each month. The individuals chosen for sacrifice were often war captives or those selected for their symbolic significance, sometimes regarded as incarnations of the gods or as members of rival groups. Before their sacrifice, these chosen individuals would partake in various religious and social activities, such as blessing children or participating in processions and dances, serving both as honored figures and symbolic offerings within their communities. During the Aztec human sacrifice rituals, the sacrificial individual was taken to the top of a temple and placed on a stone slab. 4 priests would restrain the individual, while a 5th priest used a stone knife to open the abdomen and remove the heart. The heart was considered the seat of the individual's life and a fragment of the sun's heat, making it a crucial offering. The extracted heart was then placed in a special container, and the body of the sacrifice was thrown down the temple steps. One of the purposes of these sacrifices was to appease the gods and ensure the continuation of the world. The Aztecs believed that without these sacrifices to feed the sun god and other deities, the world would fall into darkness and life would cease. Additionally, these rituals served to demonstrate the power of the Aztec Empire, using the public display of sacrificed war captives and their skulls to intimidate rival tribes and maintain social order. The Aztecs achieved remarkable advancements, yet due to limited interaction with other civilizations, their society developed in a somewhat insular manner, leading to certain economic and social aspects lagging behind those of more interconnected cultures. This self-contained development was abruptly halted by the Spanish conquest. Additionally, diseases such as smallpox, measles, and hepatitis, introduced by the Spanish colonizers, played a significant role in hastening the decline of the Aztec civilization. These diseases decimated the Aztec population, further weakening their society and facilitating the collapse of their empire. The Aztecs had a legend about a seafaring people with pale skin and white beards who came from the ocean, imparted various forms of knowledge, helped in constructing temples, and then departed with a promise to return. These figures were referred to by the Aztecs as Quetzalcoatl. Consequently, when the Spanish arrived at the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, their appearance gave them a considerable advantage, as the Aztecs believed these were their deities returning as promised, leading to celebrations. However, these supposed gods ended up being their destructors. The military tactics of the Aztecs aimed at capturing prisoners for offering to their gods rather than killing enemies outright, contrasted starkly with the Spanish, whose goal was conquest and plunder. This clash of objectives inevitably led to the downfall of the Aztec forces. The legacy of the Aztec Empire is rich and enduring. Corn, a staple cultivated by the Aztecs, is now grown worldwide. In the minds of many, Tenochtitlan remains a magnificent ancient city. Although the Aztec Empire was destroyed, its civilization was not erased. Like other indigenous civilizations of the Americas, the strength of the Aztecs continues to be evident throughout the course of human history.